We are back again with Stephanie Dobson this week. Stephanie is a local lawyer and mediator with Hank Divorce Law and Mediation here in Lloydminster. It's another episode of Healthy, Thriving Families in Two Homes. Now, Stephanie, last week we talked a little bit about the grandparents' rights and how they can help out when going through, their children are going through separation and divorce. Today we want to get into that a little bit more. And we want to talk about some of the really in-depth involvement with grandparents when it comes to the contentious issues, especially if there is a very tough separation and divorce happening. So the first thing is, what happens, Stephanie, if one of the parents wants to try and keep a grandparent out of the process, or it's just not going well? Do grandparents still have the rights to spend the time with their grandchildren?
You know, this is a very common question that I get when grandparents have been cut off from seeing their grandchildren. It's a very sad situation, of course, because for children, the more love that goes around, the better. But in some circumstances, grandparents may apply to the court for court-ordered time with their grandchildren if they're being cut off from the parents. Now, the rules for making these applications are different whether you're in Alberta or Saskatchewan. And of course, for our viewers, we're talking about these two provinces. There's some situations where a grandparent is automatically entitled to make a court application to see their grandchildren. And there's other times where a grandparent may need to ask for special permission to see their grandchildren. To make that court application. But ultimately, provided that the court is willing to hear an application from the grandparents to see their grandchildren, it's the best interest of the children, and we've talked about that in other episodes, that is going to reign supreme. So a court application, we have to keep in mind, though, to demand time by grandparents as to their grandchildren is probably not going to further build a relationship to repairing that relationship between grandparents, grandchildren, and the adult children. And so, grandchildren can often, when they're in that push-pull situation, can really feel that strained relationship, and it ends up having them be in a really toxic environment. So although grandparents can apply for that court-ordered time, it can really cause that dampening of that relationship going forward.
Stephanie, in a lot of our conversations, we've talked about mediation as an option. Is that an option for grandparents as well?
Well, I do have, absolutely it is. Mediation is for all sorts of different disputes, separation and divorce. A few episodes ago, we talked about pets in relation to mediation, and it's also available for grandparents, of course. So when grandparents come to me and say that they've been cut off from their grandchildren, the first thing that I do encourage them to do is to try to open up that conversation. And whether that's just with the adult child, so the parent of your grandchild, or whether that's through mediation, if you need professional assistance, most definitely mediation can help. So in mediation, what we try to look at is, again, just like the court would look at, is the best interest of the grandchildren. Usually if the parents have concerns which cause them reasons to deny grandparents time, we can usually talk through those issues and really work them out in mediation.
Now, what if the grandchildren have some resistance and they don't actually want to spend time with the grandparents? What happens then, Stephanie?
Well, mediation to the rescue again. Honestly, we can do so many things in mediation and resolve so many relationship issues to make it positive for the future. So if the parents of your grandchildren are supportive of mediation and supportive of the relationship to continue despite this resistance by the grandchildren, then very often we'll have everyone attend at mediation. So we would have the grandparents, we'd have the grandchildren, and the parents of your grandchildren. And because when people take more of a rights-based approach, things can go south and sour pretty quickly. So what we want to try to do is to seek to understand and really to not only listen, but also to hear what people are saying and to really understand it underlying what's going on for that resistance so that we can repair that relationship.
Now, Stephanie, there's just so much that is involved with not only divorce and separation, as I'm discovering, but specifically when it comes to dealing it, as we talked about today with the grandparents. If people have any questions regarding that, or they're going through this scenario and not sure what to do, what's the best way for them to start, I guess, looking to find the answers as to how they get started?
Sure. Well, to our viewers, if you want to start by having a look at our website, it will give you a really good introduction of what we do and how we do it and the process options that we use. We do a lot of mediation. We also have legal services. So start with the website. You can always call our office as well, 780-875-2234, and our team would be happy to give you more information. And usually the way we start is with a 5-minute phone call with me. That's free of charge, just to get a really quick idea, obviously not an in-depth idea of your situation in 5 minutes, but it'll give us a really good idea of whether we're barking up the right tree and whether I'm the right person to help you and your family resolve your dispute.
All right, Stephanie, well, thank you so much. Always interesting to speak with you, and we'll chat with you again next week.